taking on the fight. Coins and cash, making it last. Jordan Budgets, we got this crew.
Hey y'all, it's Jordan from Jordan Budgets. Today I want to share with you my new budget planner. First off though, if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for subscribing and being a part of our budget fam here on YouTube. If you are new, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Jordan. I love making budget related and cash budgeting related videos here on YouTube. I also have an Etsy shop and my own shop, jordanbudgets.com, where I make cute cash budgeting savings challenge binders to help make budgeting and saving fun and motivating. I will also possibly be branching into budget planners. That is something I want to share with you today. I want to say first off though, I have been tracking my spending in a Hobonichi Weeks. This is the Hobonichi Weeks that I use for like all of my life. I will continue to do that on a day-to-day basis, but I'm finding that I want to, for record keeping, like keep a better log of things. So this is not something that I will be checking in with every single day. I'm still a huge believer in tracking your spending, kind of writing things down every single day, checking your bank accounts, putting them in your everyday planner. I think that is kind of like step one, but this is something I want to share with you guys. I also want to mention, I have been highly unmotivated to make a budget planner. I've been here on Etsy and YouTube in the budgeting world for 4 years almost. And I've been highly unmotivated to make a budget planner and sell it because I feel like there are so many people already making and selling budget planners. And sorry if you hear me, I'm just looking for a pen off to the side. This is gonna be a chatty video, y'all. If you are new around here, you should just know all my videos are chatty and I'm kind of all over the place sometimes, but this one in particular is going to be long as I chat through my ideas. I want your input in the comments to help make this something that would work for all of us if I do decide to modify it and sell it. But this is gonna be chatty. So go ahead and grab a coffee, grab your own planning or budgeting supplies, budget and plan with me, you know, cozy in, settle in, because this is going to be a chatty one. But I have been unmotivated to create one, even though I've created like everything else for budgeting. I am such a minimal budget planner, budget tracker. I like to keep things way more simple than your traditional budget planner. I have a hard time using a regular budget planner because it's over tracking and over analyzing to me. And you'll see what I mean once you see what I've put together. But I don't feel like anybody else is gonna want to use my system, right? Because I don't see it represented anywhere else. But the more I've thought about it, I'm like, maybe that is exactly why I need to create a budget planner, because the style in which I have taken on is a little bit different. So I'm kind of like in between, I'm in the middle of like a brain shift on the whole thing. I have for a long time said that I will not create a budget planner because I think it's overdoing it. But maybe I need to create one in my own style. The other thought though is if I create one my own way, then nobody's gonna buy it because I don't see anybody else doing it like this. So anyway, it's really not that big of a deal and it's not that different. It's just I am a little bit more minimal with my approach. So let me give you a quick overview of what I mean of like how I've broken this up. So just a quick flip through without really chatting about it, and then we'll go back and chat and I will explain why I think this way works. This is how it works for my brain anyway, but I am curious. Please leave in the comments any tips, ideas, suggestions you have. Like, I need this section to be bigger, or I really can't live without this type of section, or whatever. But also try to hear me out on why I'm creating it, have created it this way. Think of this as prototype number 1. I will be doing a lot of modifications, whether it be on camera with you guys or just behind the scenes, based off of the feedback that I'm hearing from you guys. And if I am overwhelmingly just hearing, yeah, this would not work for me, I need a traditional budget planner, then I just won't make or sell this. At any point, I'll just keep this for myself. But this is like more how my brain works instead of the traditional planner. So now that I've said all of that, before we start actually putting in my own real numbers, making this a home for my own budget, let's flip through and see the pages. So keeping in mind that this is really simple, prototype version number 1, you'll see like some pages don't match up exactly, and like there's a blank page here where it's not supposed to be. Anyway, let's just run through it quickly and then we'll get into the details of why I think this way works. You have a bill tracker where you can write your bills, due date, amount, and then every single month is here represented for you to color in. And then you have it jumps right into a monthly and income, or a monthly income and expense, income, expense categories, like a broad overview. And this is your projected page, what you think is gonna happen that month. Then you guys know, if you've been watching my channel, this is mostly what I use. This is where you live throughout the entire month, tracking all of your expenses on a monthly spread. You have some notes, some weekly notes, so week 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That can be to break up anything that is unique for that week, or some notes you want to make for yourself to help make the next month easier. And then you have a monthly income and expense actual. So it's the same page as the projected. It's just this is what you fill out at the end of the month to kind of compare this page with this page to see how it's actually worked out, right? Projected, and then your actual at the end. Then it just repeats for 12. There's 12 of these like repetition sections. So for the next month, you get to mark what month it is. You have your projected where you're writing down, this is what I think my income is gonna be. This is what I think my expense categories are gonna be and how much. And then your monthly spread, your weekly notes, and then your actual. So like I said, that just keeps repeating. So let me skip to the back. Past that, again, this is where I said like prototype, right? It's on very thin paper, so you can also, I don't know, can you see through? But also like there's this blank spread here, would not be in the final version. But let me show you, the only other real things in this binder would be debt overview. Well, there's 3 things. You have a debt overview and a savings overview. So with the debt overview, these 2 spreads look very similar. Again, the idea of this is keep it simple. Don't overwhelm yourself. You know when you open this exactly what you need to be doing, what you need to be tracking. Everything is just very user-friendly, if you will. So debt overview. For debts, you have your debt. You might want to write like the name of it up here. Do I need to zoom in for this part, or like bring us, let me bring us down for just a second. Debt overview would be your debt. So like your debt name or something that triggers you to know which debt that is you're working on, your starting balance, your minimum payment, and your interest rate. And then you have for January, basically like every month, you have every month here, your payment you made, and then I would put the ending balance at the end of that month. So you have a row for debt 1, 2, 3, 4. So these all work downwards. Each month you get to put how much you paid towards it, and then your balance at the end of the month for tracking purposes. And this is your debt overview, and it's 2 pages, so you have room for 8 debt. If you guys have more than 8 debts, let me know if you would absolutely need more of these pages. My thinking is if you have more than 8 debts, well, you can just focus which 8 am I really going to try to tackle this year? Because are you guys really paying off more than 1 debt per year? I don't know. I'm asking this as a genuine question. I had 2 credit cards, which I consolidated. So I would just put those, I don't know if I would put those as 1 or 2, I don't know. And then I have a car loan that I would put as debt 3. So I know for me, I find 3 debts overwhelming. So I kind of feel like if you have more than 8 debts, well, maybe you just want to focus on 8 anyway. Or if you absolutely need some more debt overview pages and for it to go to like 16, let me know. I don't know, but that's how I have it so far. And then after your debt overview page, you have debt trackers 1 through 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4 goes through 8. So there's 8 pages of these. But again, the layouts are all exactly the same. There's no savings challenge. I feel like if you wanted to do a savings challenge, you might do that in cash, or you might do that, I don't know. Again, I wanted to keep this simple and not overwhelming. So I just created 8 pages that look exactly the same. So debt tracker number 1, this is what the individual tracker pages look. So you would put them on the overview debt 1. This is your overview look, but then on the debt tracker, you write your debt name, your starting balance, minimum payment, interest rate, due date and creditor. So like some of that might be repetitive information. I don't know. Let me know if there's something you wanted different there. But you would just have date, payment, balance, and then note. And then I did a little like tracker over here, 10% through 100. So you could kind of color that in. That might be motivating to those of you that are used to doing like a savings challenge, because you get to color in your progress until you're at 100% completed over here at the side. So again, on the overview, you're just writing the ending balance for the month, but here you could write each payment as you're making it and what that balance is going down to. So you're kind of getting to more in detail track it over here. But again, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 of those to go along with that debt overview. And then we jump into the savings view overview, which is very much the same, almost. It still goes linear. It still goes like saving 1 is here, 2, 3, and 4 through 8. You're saving 4, you write up here your starting balance, your goal balance, so that's a little bit different, and then date to save by. So you write your kind of goals and what you're hoping to do up at the top. And then it's very similar, except you're just writing the dates here. There's no, on the debt overview, you have a payment and then a balance, like you're writing down how much you paid towards it in that month, and then your ending balance for the month. For the savings challenge, or for the savings overview, there's just a date spot over here. So the idea is that for each savings category, you get to write down twice, you know, like what you put in. So maybe 2 times in January, you put money into savings 1, savings 2, or maybe just twice in the month, you can move information over to this overview spot. But very similar to, again, not printed quite right. Savings 1 should be here and then 2 here, but very similar to the debt tracker, you're getting to mark the savings tracker. You're saving for starting balance, end date, savings goal. Again, there's just more space to write. So if you, for savings challenge, for your savings tracker number 1, whatever that number 1 thing that you're saving for. So like maybe for savings number 1, maybe you put money in 4 times in January, but then none in February, whatever the case may be. There's just a little more space to write dates, amounts, and balances here, kind of spread out the information. And then there's a progress tracker over to the side. So you have 8 of those. And then the only thing that is left is spending trackers. So I know these are typically put, I lied, there's one other thing at the very, very end. I do have a long-term goals, like your goal, your steps, year 1, year 3, year 5. That's the only thing that's in the back except for these spending trackers. Let me show you what the spending tracker looks like, and then we'll chat about it a little bit more, but it's just a basic date, price, item, or category that it falls into, and then if you spent cash or card. I only have, I want to say maybe 15 of these spending trackers, so let me know if that's something you would need way more of. Spending trackers, I feel like, are typically in the monthly view, like they're up here after the income and expense overview. People tend to have their spending trackers together, but I think I would like to have mine all together. So I would just like to, if I'm writing in my spending tracker, I would like to have all those purchases together. And then you get to mark if, did I say you get to mark if you used cash or card to keep up with it? I just use a calendar overview, so I don't use spending trackers like this. I think the only way I might use something like this, and how I probably will, is if I gave each page a category. So like maybe right here, I track all of my food related purchases, and then all over here I track all of my like birthday and Christmas related. So maybe I would use these if I were tracking like summer camp expenses or like specific things, but I know in a monthly I would never use them, and I tend to find them overwhelming, because to me, why can't you just write it on the day of the calendar, right? And then you're not like double writing. To me, there's no reason to like double track it, right? So that's a quick overview of what this looks like. Please be honest with me in the comments on if you would use something like this. If you would not, totally cool. I'll just keep tweaking this for my own use. But I do think that budget planners can be a little overwhelming, because they kind of have you, in my opinion, it's kind of, there's like a lot of over tracking and double tracking and stuff, and it's just too much. So I started to say, like, let's chat about how I would use this, but why don't we go ahead and start filling this out and just chatting and catching up, and you guys can see how I will actually be using this. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to give myself a little tab. Okay, so this is the part of the video where we move into like chatty and slow. So let me know how you guys are doing in the comments while we work on filling this out together. I'm just creating some little tabs for myself, just so that I can easily flip to things, but let's go ahead and put down all of my bills. I have been tracking my bills for such a long time at this point that I know pretty exactly like when they're coming out, and usually like what order they're coming in. I at least know around when they're coming. Sometimes one will come out like a day before the other, and I didn't expect that, but I kind of always know, and all of my bills at this point are the same price every single month. But if you don't quite know, or maybe your bills vary a lot, you might want to just use this to write your bill and about when you think it's going to be due, or maybe you want to leave this alone for now and start just tracking in a monthly view. But I'm going to go ahead and write down all of my bills here because I already know when they're coming and how much they're going to be. Okay, so that is my bills filled in. Basically, here's all of my bills, the due dates, and then the amounts written down. I'm going to fill out, I'm going to wait to fill this out in another video just for time's sake. I'm having the hardest time with these tabs, trying to figure out what to, let's see. Okay, so we are going to, okay, these tabs are not something that I bought for this. I just kind of had them. I know they're teeny tiny, but we're gonna work with what we got. So after the bill tracker, it jumps right into monthly income and expenses. So I'm gonna write, I'm actually not gonna write my income source. I think I'm gonna fill this out in more detail on another video, or else this is gonna be super lengthy because I am trying to think about, you know, all of the, I'm hoping to work through at least most of these pages, but just to sort of set us up, we are in August. I'm not gonna write down the income source yet. Typically I might kind of project what my sales might be, and then YouTube, I always kind of know a month ahead how much I'm gonna get from YouTube, but we're gonna leave that for blank for now. I will say the only categories, just to give you an idea of my categories, if you are new or haven't seen my other videos, I have a bills category where I lump all of my actual bills, I lump my debt, and I put gas and, or like what I think my projected gas and parking will be for the month. I put all those things together just under bills as an umbrella cost or like total, because those are all things I need to pay every single month as if it's a bill. Like I know it's debt or I know it's just gas money, but like I have to pay them. There's no kind of getting around on that one. So I'm just gonna write bills. My projected is typically about $2,200. I can look back month to month because I've been tracking and know what that number is. Food, I also just put fast food and groceries together. And household, I lump all of those things together, and I try to stay under $800 for that. The only other categories I have are other. If I am paying my car, if I'm paying like my car tag, if I'm paying for summer camp fees, if I'm paying for somebody's birthday or we want to go on a trip, that all has to lump together under other. I try to stay around $600 or less. Honestly, less is better, right? But I try to stay 600-ish and under, but I'm not too hard on myself. Like if I have to pay $600 for summer camp, I'm not gonna also say my other kid can't have new shoes if he needs them. You know what I'm saying? But just as a general, this one I'm a little more lenient on because it is such a broad category. But if I were to stay in my budget and get to save some money also, I need to stay around $600. Now bills and food, I absolutely, like those are hard numbers I try to stick to. Other and savings kind of fluctuate because they're like the extra money after bills and food. The only other category I have is savings, be it savings in my checking account, which I don't tend to do, but like I'm trying to keep a general $1,000 as a buffer, as an emergency fund in my checking account. So sometimes savings will just stay to replenish my checking account, but I'm a firm believer in cash savings, cash budgeting, keeping your, like hoarding your cash because it's harder to spend that way if you've got it tucked away in a pretty wallet that you don't want to let go of it. So savings, I try to do cash stuff cash stuffing, cash savings. Basically, I put anything in a savings that I have left over after these other categories happen during the month. So the goal is, because I have a $4,000 budget, so the goal is at least 400 is going into savings to, does that add up? 3,000? Yes, 4,000. So that totals out $4,000 for me. And you might be able to see now, like, wait, why is this? Oh, I wrote it in the wrong spot. $4,000 is my projected spending for the month, and I will say $4,000 is also my projected earnings. If I make more than that, I am trying to make more than that and just leave it in my bank account, or in my like work bank account, and just pay myself $4,000. The ideal is that these two are eventually going to balance out every single month. We're still in a like fix it stage. We're still in like, you know, righting some wrongs and trying to get my budget just right. But the goal is that these will balance out, and then there will just be a plus zero. Like that's the projected, that's the plan of what we want to do. And you can kind of see now why I don't like an overwhelming spread of like, this is what my overall month I would like to do, this much in groceries and this much in health and this much in kids stuff. To me, that's overwhelming. Break up your categories to be a much smaller amount of categories. That's my opinion, and my thought on this is if you have more categories than this, then I think that's too many. If you are a firm believer in like, no, and you disagree with me on that, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear why that is the opinion, or like how that works best for you, why it works for you. But the only thing I really feel isn't represented here that I might otherwise represent is if I paid for a health insurance that was really expensive, I might want to break it up here. Or if I paid a lot in investing. Oh my God, y'all, I just sat here for a full minute thinking of the word investing. That's how poor I am. Like investing is not on my brain at all. But investing, you might need your own line. But even then, that's only, so I have 4 categories, that would be 6 categories. Like what else could you possibly need? Just my opinion, but that's why I think some budgeting pages are kind of overwhelming. In that same breath, I don't like a weekly spread. I think we'll kind of end this here. Like maybe we'll do my other pages another time. I say we'll end this here. I don't mean like yet. I just mean I don't think we'll go through the debt and the spending tracker and all of that just yet, because those are pretty self-explanatory. At some point we will come in and fill in our debt trackers and fill in our savings. That's spending, our savings trackers. We'll do that another time because I think that kind of explains itself. But let me just talk about these pages and kind of fill them out as quickly as I can so that we're not here, so you're not here all day. But the monthly overview, y'all know this is where I live during an entire month. There is a weekly notes page just in case there's something else you really need to notate to yourself. Maybe your bills, you have a bill that changes in price every single month and it's going to be due in week 2. So in week 2, you might write, you know, power bill is going to come out and this is how much it's going to be, because you don't want to put it here until you're actually doing it. I don't use the monthly spread as like this is the projected stuff. This is the stuff that may happen or could happen. I use it purely to track my spending week to week. So we'll go back to that, but keeping that in mind, this might be in your weekly notes where you want to write some notes to yourself about like in week 4, we're probably going to this and I'm gonna need this much money. So I just like it as one page. This is not overwhelming to me. I know that in most budget planners, you have like full weekly spreads that are 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 pages. I think you just need this little box. Otherwise you might feel overwhelmed. That's how it is for me anyway. This actual page for monthly income and expense, we will not touch this page until the end of the month. Once we have our actual full income, we can go through and write it down. You won't write this until you've kind of totaled everything out at the end of the month. And then this would be your guide when you're writing your projected for the next month. Right? So weekly notes, that's something you might write, some projected notes, some things that you need to know throughout the month to plan your budget. This is where I would live, where I do live when planning and writing and tracking my spending. So you will see I've been doing it in this Hobonichi Weeks, which I will continue to use this even with a budget planner. I just would like to have this to kind of look back on and do with you guys. But I keep all this I keep a monthly, just handwritten monthly spread here in my planner that I keep with me, and every single morning I check in in my bank account and see what my spending has been like and like what has happened the day before. One of you guys said in my comments, and I absolutely love it, you said, I track my money as if it's trying to run away from me, or like I stalk my bank account as if the money's trying to get away. And that's honestly how I am. I very much track it and keep up with it as if it's trying to get away, right? So I do keep this in my planner, but I would like to get better at being able to see full overviews month to month, which is why I'm wanting to put this in here. So we're creating a calendar for August. So let me just write in the dates really quick. Okay, so I just wrote the date in here for August. Now this is again, prototype version number 1 of the planner, but I think I will keep it very simple so that we could put stickers up here, or we can kind of decorate in our own way. Let me know what you think of that. But this is for August. I'm not gonna decorate today, but I did just kind of write in the dates. Now, something a little bit unique about how I budget is how do I say this? I don't budget like this is week 1, this is week 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. So for some people, this would be a 5-week month. And this, actually, I guess for those getting paid on Friday, would be a magic month where they get like an extra check if you get a check every single Friday. I don't know. I don't do all of that. I think that's complicated. I think it confuses people. Again, I am apparently extremely opinionated about budgeting, but I think it comes, like, are we not all, if we've been doing this for a while? But I always budget the 1st through the 3rd. I don't care what date it falls on. Or not the 1st through the 3rd, the 1st through the 7th. The 1st through the 7th are week 1, always. The 8th through the 14th are week 2, always. 15th through the 21st are week 3. So you see, I'm giving us 7 days for each week. Week 1 is 1 through 7 days. 8th through the 14th, week 2, 15th through 21st, week 3. Week 4 is 22nd through the 28th. Now you might be saying, but girl, you got, there's not that many months where we only have 28 days, right? I just count these. I was looking for a ruler, but I don't seem to have one. Oh yeah, I do. I always count any days after the 28th are no spend days. Am I always able to not spend? No, but I try to leave myself no money, no spending. I actually, like, if I need gas for the car, I'll try to get it on the 28th. If we are gonna need groceries by the 31st, I'll try to get that on the 28th. Like, I purposely plan my month around pretending like these days don't exist. They're always no spend. They're like built-in no spend days, right? So that is how I budget. It's a little bit unique, and so I hope it doesn't confuse you. But if I were, say, to get paid on the 29th, I know some of you might be saying though, but like, girl, what if I get paid on the 29th and I need to use that money? No, you don't. It can sit there invisible until the 1st, right? So on the 1st, no matter what day it falls, that is when, like, I'm allowed to get paid. My budget reboots. I am unique in the sense that, like, I pay myself kind of off of Etsy and YouTube. So like, I can pay myself on the 1st and make it happen. But just because your paydays don't fall in line with, say, when a new week starts. So like on the 1st, a new week starts, on the 8th, a new week starts, on the 15th, and then on the 22nd, basically these are all like restart days, right? Even if your money doesn't fall, like actually hit your bank account those days, you can pretend it didn't hit. You know what I'm saying? So if it was a magic month for you and you got paid extra on the 29th, I would do nothing with it. I would let it sit until the next month, until the 1st, and then you do that money just like normal, right? So on the 1st, I give myself $200 for groceries. I give myself, my rent money. I don't know if I'm explaining that the best way. Let me know if that was very confusing, but basically I have a 4-week month every single month. Whatever days fall outside of that, I ignore them. They are built-in no spend days for me. So I just highlighted every other week just to kind of remind myself like when those week days start. So week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then no spend days for these 3 days, and then our budget restarts, right? So I hope that makes sense. Let me go ahead though and do some tracking. So on the 1st of the month, I did, like I said, I paid myself from Etsy and from Shopify. If you shop in my shops, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for supporting my YouTube channel here, for watching my videos, for giving a like. If you're interested in any of my budget products, that's how I get this Etsy and this Shopify money. I actually got paid on the 5th, which again for me falls under week 1. I like to write my income first before all the spending, and I put income in green. So I did kind of overpay myself. Ideally, I move into a schedule where I pay myself $1,000 for a week. I paid myself for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, more like $1,200. So, but on day 1, I did pull $441 from Etsy, and then I pulled $300 from Shopify. Most of that went straight to rent. So I needed to pull a little bit more money on the 5th, and I pulled $472 from Etsy. So that's all my payments for the month. And then some spending that I did. We did so much fast food, y'all, because my kid is still in camp. Was I prepared for my kid to still be in camp? No, but he is absolutely loving it, and honestly, it is like what we needed. So I didn't have any spending again, because most of my spending is happening because of like on the way to or from camp. We've been overspending. If you don't know this, I have been a mom who hasn't really had my kids in camps, and I've been really prioritizing kind of treating myself like we're a stay-at-home mom family. We've been homeschooling, and you absolutely can homeschool as a single mom. Should I have done it in this move though? No, I shouldn't have. It really stopped working for us. I think it stopped working for us because it's such a higher cost of living here, and I kind of ran myself down trying to work enough to pay bills when there's a higher cost of living. I should have stopped prioritizing homeschool. Anyway, that is a whole other story. Did I write this right? Okay, I might have overcolored the bright pink. So I do have these dual tip highlighters. I don't think the camera's focusing on it. There we go. Is it focusing? So all of my highlighters have 2 colors basically. There's a light pink and a dark pink, and I just use these different colors to differentiate between like fast food and groceries, even though it all comes out of the same $800 budget to me. Anyway, homeschooling was kind of a separate rant. What I was really trying to say is we haven't been doing the like off to school, off to summer camp kind of vibe where they're like gone all day. So I have found that because we're on like week 3 of summer camp, started purchasing fast food and coffee and stuff like to and from, and I've got to get a better handle on that. I'm usually much better at like fast food spending and stuff, but it has been a lot these last couple of weeks as I am just overspending on, as I'm making the fast food a priority. So I'm not too off budget as far as fast food and groceries go, but I do need to get a better handle on it. I was chatting and not thinking. I only have this, which is like an off-white though, so hopefully that's not too annoying of a color, but that is our fast food spending. So fast food on Monday, we got $16. Tuesday, we got coffee and fast food. And then Wednesday, we got coffee. Scooters, if you have one near you, does $1 coffees and then $1 bags of mini donuts. And so I will get a coffee. My kids will each get a bag of mini donuts. And so if you see like $1 to $4 range, that means we went to Scooters. $7 means we went to Dunkin'. Okay, so like I'm trying to at least keep out the Dunkin' purchases. But anyway, that's the fast food for week 1. Again, our week 1 goes from the 1st through the 7th. I'm filming this on the 8th after, like this official budgeting week has happened. So, groceries, that was the other thing. Let's see. Groceries, I'm going to use the light pink. Again, it's the same category in my actual budget, but just so I can get a brief overview and see what spending happened, I like to differentiate them in color. But groceries, I have 2 groceries costs on Monday, but I think what actually happened is I got a few groceries on Monday for $49, and then the other groceries $154. I think that bigger purchase was actually on the 1st, but it didn't hit my bank account until the 4th. So we're just gonna put it here because by the time I tracked it, it pulled from my card on the 4th. So that is groceries. We have 2 other expenses. We need Blue. I track my bills in Blue. Typically, I don't put my bills on a weekly spread like this, but we're trying new things. We are trying new things. I have been using, you know, that tiny Hobonichi week. So I think the main reason I haven't been tracking bills on the monthly spread is just because there's literally nowhere to put them. But for funsies, let's put our bills on the monthly calendar. So rent and phone, I do have a phone line through my mom's line. So I just lumped that all together. I pay her $835 towards rent and phone. Hulu, I also pay on the 1st. I got a good like end of the year sale on that where it's like $1 every single month. Otherwise, I wouldn't keep it. And that's my only bills so far for the month. So rent and phone, and then Hulu, I did pay during week 1. The only other thing, oh, I know what I was gonna say, is on the 6th over here, I did put gas in the car. I track, oh, maybe I should track actually, now that I'm putting bills on my monthly spread, I think I'm gonna track gas and parking in darker blue. So I put my bills, my debt, and like my debt payments and my gas and my parking, I put them all in blue because to me those are like, they're non-negotiable. I have to pay it to keep living, so I just put it all in blue. So gas for the car, I paid $40. Something else, because I have been homeschooling, I feel like $40, maybe $60 in gas has been like what I've been doing. I think that now that my kids are in summer camps and they're gonna go straight from summer camp to school, and neither one of those things are close to me currently. So I think $40 in gas is gonna be like a weekly thing instead of a monthly thing. So I need to start putting that more on my, like allocating more money towards gas for the car, because that's gonna be a much bigger expense as time goes on. The only other thing I have, which I like to track, or last like expense for week 1, I like to track my other category, which is basically like all the other stuff. Any frivolous spending I have done, anything for the kids, anything like an oil change, you know, like literally anything else. A doctor visit for myself because I don't have health insurance, I would pay out of pocket. It's all purple, okay? So I do have a dark color purple and a light color purple. I could decide at some point like which one's dark and which one's light. Right now I just use light for all of them. I'm not really a frivolous spender. I'm not a big spender. I did go into debt last year during this whole move process, but that was more of like an income problem, not a spending problem. So the only thing I did spend money on during week 1 of August though is camp for one of my kids. It was $92 this week. It's typically a little bit more, but for this week it was $92 because I overpaid a little bit last week, but for this week, I did pay for him to go to camp for $92. That's for one kid. I have 2 kids. Both of them are not in summer camp this year. Just one of them is. So the only like off budget expense, or the only other budget expense for this week, for week 1 of August, was camp for one of my kids. So that's it for week 1. And you can see why I truly do feel like there's like a little bit of setup work for a month, but this is where I will live for the month, and then tracking will come, you know, down the line. But I think that you can kind of do all your tracking and everything you need in one monthly overview, and that's what I do month to month. So I think that's all we're gonna do for this week. We could do some weekly notes. Maybe we'll do that another day. I think we actually will wait on the income tracking also, because like where all do I get money? I get money from Etsy, Shopify, and YouTube. And it would be nice to know the total amount I'm getting from each at the end of the month. Whereas if I were to write the income that's already coming in, I wouldn't get to categorize it by like Etsy, YouTube, Shopify, right? So we're gonna save this whole page for when the month is over. And we will also set up again, I don't know that I would even use spending trackers unless I start breaking it up by category, which might be fun. So debt, we will set up another day, and savings trackers, like individual trackers, and my 8 categories that I would pick will set up another day. So that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this kind of setup video, as well as my week 1 of August. If you found this video fun or helpful or entertaining in some way, I hope that you will like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below letting me know how you would tweak this video, how you would tweak this planner, or maybe something you do enjoy about the planner. any insight would be helpful as I try to kind of figure out if this is something I just want to keep tweaking for myself and use on my own channel, or if it might be something that you guys would be interested in. As always though, I love you guys, I appreciate you, and I'll see you again soon for another budgeting video. Bye-bye.
Hey, you, yeah, you with the dream so bright. We're saving together, taking on the fight. Coins and cash, making it last.